You need a financial plan. A financial plan gives you a roadmap. It gives you a guide to what you are supposed to be doing with your money at every stage of your life. Hi, my team just pointed to me that more than 50% of you who watch our videos are not yet subscribers. Please, would love to encourage you to subscribe. It is how YouTube recommends more of this video to a bigger audience and more people like you. So do us this favor by subscribing today. Thank you for that. I hope you've done that.
What is financial plan?
Okay, that's an interesting question because, we want a way of going through life with ease, particularly when it has to do with our finances. We have our goals around money. We have
Okay.
things we want to achieve around money. So a financial plan is a roadmap to your financial goal. So you have a goal around money. There is something you want to achieve at 25, at 35, at 45, at 60 or retirement. So a financial plan gives you a step-by-step or a roadmap on how you can navigate your time, you can navigate your seasons of life, you can navigate your spendings and income, you can navigate your investing. So what that means is that a financial plan has the idea of budgeting. So there's budgeting on your financial plan. There's investing. What am I to invest on and at what age am I supposed to start? Remember, the core idea is your financial goal. You have a big goal, what you want to achieve with money. So let's say for someone who wants to retire at 55 or 50, your financial plan sets the roadmap for that to happen at 55. So it tells
Yeah.
you what you should be doing at 25, 35, 45, 50, and on to retirement. So at the bottom line, a financial plan helps you achieve your goal.
Okay. A financial plan helps you to achieve your goal,
Your financial goal.
your financial goal.
Yes.
The next question I just want to ask is on budgeting.
Okay.
So, what exactly is budgeting?
Very interesting. Budgeting gives you a structure to achieving your financial goal. Now, I know you have plans of what you want to do with money, okay? But remember that your income at any stage of your life and skill set is tied to a specific income. So, budgeting helps you with that income you have per time. It helps you decide what am I going to be spending on what purpose, and on the priorities depending on the plan. Budgeting for me is planned freedom. Okay, so imagine I'm earning 100,000. Budgeting gives me priorities based on what is my financial goal. It tells me what exactly I should be doing with that 100,000. Now, there are some budgeting rules. We have the 70, 20, 10 rule. Now, which says that 70% of your income should be spent on your needs, which are your daily bills, your monthly bills, which includes your house rent, your transportation system, your food. 20% of whatever you earn should be spent on savings and investing, while 10% should be spent on your guilt-free items like hanging out with friends, like tithing. Okay. Now, but depending on your goal, I have a specific one that works for me, and that is the 50, 30, 20 rule. And that says that 50% of my monthly income goes to my needs. And my needs again includes my rent for the month or my rent for the year, includes again my logistics, how I go around, includes my feeding. Now, includes everything that has to do with my monthly needs. 50% of it goes to this area. 30% goes to my savings and investment. Now, I like to split that savings and investment because the purpose of savings is towards a goal. Savings is not just for savings, but there is something you must do first. I call it savings for the emergency funds. So you must save first an emergency fund. An emergency fund takes care of your 3 to 6 months of your basic needs for life, unpredictable events like losing your job. You might have and a health emergency. So when those things happen, you don't want to have a crisis over your life. You want to be stable while planning for your next line of action. If you're married, I recommend saving up to a year of that expense, of your monthly expenses or needs, things that you spend money on your needs. So again, 30% goes to my savings and investment. Then while 20% goes to my guilt-free spending. Okay, like taking my friends out, like maybe taking an ice cream if I want to. Maybe hanging out once in a while. Because I have a goal, I also have a life to live. So I like to live my life in ways that accommodate all my needs. So the budgeting rule that I recommend, which helps you fast track your goal. Budgeting gives you an automated framework on what happens whenever your salary or income hits your account. So that is what budgeting is. Now, but there is this mindset around many people. People are saying, so how do I budget in an economy where prices change every 2 weeks? Is it even realistic, or are we fooling ourselves? Well, the answer to that question is, realistically, your salary or income is fixed. Your income is fixed unless you are working on something to improve what you are earning. So if you are earning 100,000 and the price of Gary in the market changes next week, it doesn't actually change reality. Reality is that you are still earning 100,000 naira.
Yeah.
But budgeting says if 50% goes to my need, what that means, I have to adjust to the recent reality because I must keep to my budget if I must achieve my financial goal.
Yeah.
And that, what it could mean for some people is taking a different means of logistics or going to work. It could mean taking public transport system because you have a budget you are working with. And sometimes for some people, it might mean not eating out and cooking at home. So you can make slight savings from here and there because basically, you can't control inflation. You can't control what happens in the economy. But what you have control over is what you do with your salary, your income every month. And if you have this mindset of saying, well, 100,000 is too small, I know it's too small. 200 is too small. But remember, it doesn't change what comes to you. But the mindset of budgeting allows you to work around what your reality is at the moment. So you can plan your life and your financial goal with what you are earning today, while you're making plans to improve your skill set that allows you to earn more money, while you're also invariably increase the 50% that goes to all these needs area as your income increases.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
So this time around, we'll be looking into another financial aspect of it, which is investing.
Okay.
So I would love for you to tell us more about how can a beginner enter into investing?
Oh, interesting question. Investing is making your money work for you. And investing favors the early. Now, if I'm earning small, the first thing I would like to invest in is to invest in my capacity to earn more. So what that means is I need to learn a skill set that allows me to earn more money, to add more value to the marketplace, and the marketplace rewards value with money. So if I am earning 100,000, which might not be enough, given the present reality today, the first thing I would like to invest on is investing in my skill set. So you find out what people need in today's marketplace. People need digital skills. People are looking for how to quickly get attention through, digital means. So someone who can return customers or return eyeballs for customers using maybe Facebook or meta marketing is something that is in high demand. Someone who can edit a video with precision is something that is in high demand. Someone who can give people ideas on how they can lose weight and live healthier is something that is in high demand. So the first thing I like to do, first of all, if I'm earning little, is to increase my value in the marketplace. So that's the first area I like to invest in. I like to invest in my capacity to earn more because that gives me leverage in terms of earning more money. Okay, so that's the first thing I like to invest in. Now, the all-time correlation of all people who build wealth is constant investing. So what that means, constant investing in yourself and in other areas of investing that I'm going to talk about. Okay. But the first place you must start is your capacity to earn. Okay, so when you have increased your capacity to earn, there are 4 other areas I'd like you to try investing. The first is labor, because you cannot continue to exchange your time for money for too long. It is limiting. So labor means replicating yourself in other people such that what one person can do, a 5-man team led by you can quadruple or 10x that same in little time. So invest in replicating yourself in other people such that they are assets that bring income back to you. The second thing you must invest in is capital. You want to invest in other people's assets, companies that is doing well. A good example of this is accepting money from other people into a business as form of capital. So let's say you are trading with 10 million. And someone proposes to give you 50 million for a stake in the business. That is capital from other people. Okay. But there's another side of capital, which is invested in other people's concern. So investing could be in form of stock, it could be in form of treasury bill, it could be in form of bonds and guarantee. You are staking your money in other people's businesses and interests that has a lifelong predictable pattern of return. So like for instance, in the mutual market, there are aggressive funds that has a 25% annual returns for the past 10 years. So it means that there's a predictable pattern of return for the past 10 years. You are investing in other companies or pool of other companies managed by fund managers. Now, but your money is not just working for you now. It is working in other people's businesses that pay you dividends, that multiply the monies as interest. So there is also these aggressive growth funds, which most mutual fund managers have. Now, this is investing your money in other people's concern. Compounding is the magic of capital investment when done early. Now, let me break that down. Compound interest is simple. It is interest earning interest, your money making money, and then that money also is making money. So your money makes an interest, then that interest is also making money. It's a snowball rolling downward, and a small amount on top of each other becomes unstoppable at the bottom. So let me show you some real numbers. So let's say you invest 50,000 every month at an average return of 15% per year, which average mutual conservative funds return. If you start at 25 and stop at 60, you will have roughly 730 million naira. That is the magic of compounding. Now look at it again. If you start at 35 and stop at 60, you will have roughly 165 million. It's the same 50,000 a month. It's the same return of 15%, but the 10 years difference is what makes a whole lot of difference. But the person who started at 25 ends up with over 4 times more money. And that is not just a 10-year gap, is a life difference. So one person retires and builds a house in the village, the other ends up with just chasing the next contract at 65. So you know why that happens? Is because compounding looks boring and uninteresting at the beginning. Your money grows slowly and you feel like nothing is happening. But somewhere around 15 or 20, the snowball gets geometric. And the interest on your money starts earning bigger and bigger interest. That is the magic of compounding. And like I said, compounding in the capital investment market favors the early. The earlier you start, the better. So you can start setting aside 20,000 every month. The goal is to have your money start working for you early, and to develop a mindset of investing, which you need to build wealth. Remember where I started. I said there's a correlation of the wealthy with consistent investment. You can't just not deal with this. If you want to build wealth, you must invest. Now, the third area you need invest in is what I call code.
Cool.
Okay, code is like automating your business. Okay, one thing you can do for your business is to find ways to do it better.
Yeah.
So one thing you can find out, even with your skill set, is to find out how to do it better. If you can do something in 5 minutes or in 1 hour, an automation can do it in 5 minutes. Why not give it a try? You are saving money that can be invested in other assets. Then the last is what I call media. Media gives you the wings to soar. Media is attention economy. Media is putting yourself out there, your business out there, what you do out there. The return is geometric. It might be difficult to start at the beginning, but when it takes off, the investment you made 10 years ago can pay you and continue to pay you 20, 30 years afterwards. So bottom line is that the first thing you must invest in yourself, the first area you must seek to invest in is consistent learning. So find out how to upskill yourself, learn new skill, find out how to earn more in the marketplace. Then secondly, you must invest in labor, replicating yourself, in capital, doing more with what you have, or accepting capital into something you're doing so they can have more leverage, or investing in other people's concern.
Okay.
Then again, media and code.
What are the most dangerous mistakes beginners make with investing?
Okay. Now, the first mistake people make is inconsistency. Okay. Now, assuming I want to take the path of capital market investing or stock market investing. So someone starts at 50,000 the first month, but is unable to continue after the 6th month. You know what will happen? The one you started loses ground. At the end of the day, your financial goal is unmet.
Yeah.
So the first biggest problem I see a lot of people making is putting their money in something they know will give them returns and suddenly coming back for the money. They might say things came up, I lost someone, I need to take that money back, because they didn't make plans for the emergency funds I talked about. So inconsistency is number one problem I see a lot of people making as regards investment.
Yeah.
And you don't want to make that mistake, because remember, your financial plan is towards a goal. And once you cut it short, you will never get to your goal. So inconsistency is the first one. The second most dangerous, mistake I see a lot of people make is impatience. Okay, so we understand what I said. I said investing favors the early. So if you start early, if you plant the seeds today and become patient with it, in 35 years, you're going to have 730 million, like I said, with a 50,000 monthly consistent investment. You have 730. But most people are never patient with the time. So you plant a seed today, tomorrow you are going to look at it. Is it germinating? Is it developing roots? Is the seed growing? No, it doesn't work that way. Investing doesn't work that way. Even when you're investing in yourself, there is a learning curve for learning any skill. So when you want to learn, you have a time frame of understanding, enumerating, following step by step what you're seeing, then practicing. Okay. All this takes time for mastery. Likewise in investing. When people invest today, in 6 months, they want big returns, they want a life made. Investing takes patience. Then the most common trap, the one that catches even smart, educated people, is investing without a plan. Somebody hears about stock, he wants to buy one. He hears about crypto, he wants to buy some. He hears about real estate, he wants to put some money there. 6 months later, they have money scattered everywhere. You must have a plan. So your financial plan must have where you intend to invest your money. So it could be stock at the beginning, it could be mutual fund at the beginning, maybe later it could be now in real estate. You want something that gives you, the idea of building quickly, then later to diversify.
Yeah. So the next one is retirement. I want you to show more light about retirement.
Okay, whether we like it or not, we can't be young forever.
Okay.
A time comes when all that we've gathered all the years somehow comes calling. Did we make plan for legacy or contribution? What plans did we make for retirement? Now, if you did all you're supposed to do, invested early, budgeted well, made plans for saving and investing, retirement in most cases is fun, because when you retire, you might not be making as you were making maybe in your prime, which is 40, 50.
Yeah.
Okay, so your income might have stepped a little bit downwards. It doesn't work for every person. Depending on your skill set and industry, you could be earning more at 55, 60, depending. But retirement comes upon all of us. We must retire one day, and not in active service. But again, our lifestyle we've built for ourselves has to go on, whether we like it or not.
Okay.
So, but as a way I like to think about retirement. So let's say your monthly expenses on your needs is 100,000 naira. So let's estimate the regular estimate. The normal estimate is, say, 70 to 80% of that is what you will be needing when you retire.
Okay.
So let's take an estimate of 70%. So that's 70,000. So 70, because it's assumed your children at that point, if you have family, they've all graduated from school, maybe taking care of themselves. You don't have a lot of family burden at that age. That's an assumption. It doesn't hold true for many people, but that's like a theoretical assumption that cuts across.
Okay.
So let's say 70,000 monthly need as your expenses. It's an assumption, right?
Yeah.
So depending on your lifestyle, some people can go as high as 10 million per month, even more, some 5 million. But let's assume 70,000. So you will need times 12 of that in a year. So 70 multiplied by 12 in a year is around 840. I hope I'm correct. 840,000. That's what you need for 1 year, right? Because people live longer these days. So let's say after 60, you stay additional 20 to 30 years. So let's assume you stay up to 80. So that means you are planning for 20 years additional after retirement. So you will need 840,000 multiplied by 20 years of your life. Now, we are not accounting for inflation or things that might happen in the marketplace. You will need 840 multiplied by 20 years of your life. Now, remember, we started by saying, imagine your lifestyle, your needs was 100,000. So we took a 70% of that's what you might be needing on retirement. So that's how we arrived at 70,000.
Yeah.
So you're going to be needing 840,000 multiplied by 20 to maintain some form of basic functioning of your life around money, maintaining your needs, that maybe things around rent, if you don't own one, maybe things around medicine, things around fitness, food, okay, basic stuff that is your need. So you need to plan for that. In this age and time, your children are most likely not a retirement plan for this generation. So you must plan for yourself. And if you did budgeting well now that you're young, if you saved and invested now that you're young, then retirement takes care of itself.
Yeah.
And so the plan is for you to understand that retirement comes upon all of us. And so there's a consciousness you must have within your financial plan to do what you must do now that you are young, so that retirement becomes easy, fun, and rewarding.
So thank you very much, Dr. Emeka, for this great insight.
Yes.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you for staying by and completing this video. But we have another video somewhere on the screen that will take you deeper into the knowledge that you want that will change your life. So click somewhere on the screen for the next video showing. You will love it. It is about your well-being and the psychology that you need to flourish. This is ULab, and we are here to make sure that your life gets better. Thank you. So click on it somewhere on the screen. and I'll see you there.